No scores. We go to the second inning. Dan Duquette, Executive Vice President in charge of baseball operations for the Orioles, good enough to come join us. The draft is going to start 40 rounds, 3 days, starts on Monday. So you're ready. You're ready to go with that. I'm sure you'll be ironing things out over the weekend. But a philosophy as you go into it, what is it?
Well, we're going to try to draft the best players that we can. And Gary Racich and his scouts are doing a good job. They're lining up the pitching. They're spending a lot of time identifying the pitchers that can help us, hopefully sooner rather than later, and then they're lining it up according to the value as they see it. There's some good depth throughout the draft. There's some good position players, and I think Major League Baseball has done a good job identifying the best high school players and getting them signed and getting them into the industry and playing.
What do you think the toughest tool to evaluate is for young players?
Well, you know, some of these young players, they won't show you all their skill and ability when you go in there and see them. But now when they have the showcases, you get a chance to see them do everything and do the running, do the throwing. And, the pitching in the spring is kind of hard to see. So I think you got to do a good job in the summertime with your scouts to see the pitching.
Hardy at one hopper, but it won't be in time. And McCutchen will be on and pick up an infield hit to start the second inning.
So, I don't know, you can't know a player's desire or what their drive is to be a big league player. You know, they always called that the lower half, and you can see everything in the upper half of the circle, but you don't know what's underneath the hood, if you will, and what kind of drive they have. So to me, if your scouts do a good job digging and finding out the players that are really dedicated, that really want to be everyday big leaguers, or really want to be starting pitchers in the big leagues, those are the things that you need to find out ahead of time. Who really wants to be a big league player? Because that, a lot of times, that's the separator. They'll have the ability when they start, but if they really want to be a big league player, that makes a big difference.
Bell at the plate, runner on. So what do you ask the scouts to do, Dan, in order to find what's under the hood?
Well, they can go into the house and they can interview the player and get to know the player and his family and what type of background he has, get to know his coaches and get a recommendation from them, and just see what kind of record of dependability the player has put together over the course of his career. Now, I know if I scouted Bordy in college, right, I would have found a real dedicated guy that wanted to be a baseball player, and when the scouts went to see you in the Cape Cod League, you identified yourself as somebody that was dependable, that could make the play at shortstop. That's what the managers are looking for, dependable players. And, that to me would be good scouting, because you were undrafted.
Undrafted.
You went through the draft, and then a scout saw you in the summer college league and then signed you. And after your career that you wanted to excel in, you became a Oriole Hall of Famers. But you had a drive when you started that you wanted to be a good big league player.
Yeah, I would say most of the kids that get drafted or have an opportunity to play just want that shot. Give me a big league uniform and let me go. I'll put my nose to the grindstone and see how it works out.
Miley to Bell on that one, and it goes 3-2.
And 162 game schedule with the travel and the demands that you have competing against the best players in the world. You better want to be a player, because there's a lot of work and there's a lot of hours spent at the ballpark. And if you think it's work, you're not going to have as much fun or as good a career as the guy that's out there having a good time.
And the check swing called strike by Jerry Lane, the crew chief, down at first base. And Bell goes down. Second strikeout picked up by Miley in the ball game. And there's something about, too, you've got to understand you're going to have to spend some time in the minors. You're not going to be probably one of the half dozen, and having somebody willing to do that 2-3 years, I mean, you got to be looking at that, right?
Well, you have to be willing to invest in your career. This isn't the NFL where you go right from the SEC into the NFL. You have to spend some time in the training program and learning how to develop your skills, particularly as a hitter, right? Because you're not going to be facing the premium pitching wherever you're playing. Now, a lot of these players that are signing out of college are going to these summer college leagues like the Northwoods League, the New England Collegiate Baseball League, the Cape Cod League. And those, to me, are internships where you go and you play baseball every day. You're playing against the best pitchers in the country. You're using a wood bat. You're learning how to play every day. Even if it's only for 45 days, you're out there every day getting into the routine of baseball. In the Northwoods League, you have to travel. You have to get ready and used to the travel. So to me, the players that go out and play in those leagues are saying, hey, I want to be a big leaguer. I want to know what it's about. I want to invest my time in the summertime in a professional internship, if you will, and see if this is for me.
that gives a guy a real advantage. And just listening to that, I mean, that's a notch up. If you've gone out and played in one of those leagues, you've given a scout an opportunity to see a little more of you in a setting you want to be in. That ball to center in front of Adam Jones, base hit. Can he get the force at second? Nope. So a single for Diaz, putting runners on at first and second, and one away. So I guess the word to youngsters who are in high school or college, if you got a chance to play in one of these summer leagues and a better one at that, do it.
Well, I think it helps, particularly if you get to face the best pitchers day in and day out, because now you're going to face the pitchers that throw with more velocity, right? You're going to make the adjustment with the pitchers that are more consistent with their breaking pitches, with the ones that have change of speeds, with the pitchers that pitch on Friday night, if you will, in the Division I programs. If you're a Division II player or you don't play in a significant Division I program, you get to face the better pitchers in the summertime.
Wow. Moroff at the plate, runners on at first and second, scoreless ball game, second inning. McCutchen down at second base, Diaz on at first, and the pitch will be taken down low for a ball.
Is there going to be a priority going into the draft this year? Are you going after maybe 20 or 30 shortstops this season, or targeting pitchers?
Yeah, I'd love to get 20 shortstops in the draft. That's where all the good players come from, right? The shortstops. But we have 4 of the first 98 picks. Our first pick is 21, and then after that we are.
And did he come off the bag? No. Ball dropped as well. And a double steal takes place as McCutchen goes down to third base and Diaz goes down to second.
Oh man, he got a little tied up right there and ended up getting spiked by McCutchen on the base. Oh man, he's down, and McCutchen's ankle in a little pain, or potentially knee.
Ryan Ebel, assistant trainer, and the skipper are both on their way out.
Great throw by Caleb Joseph from the knee. Wow, that's coming in a little high right there from McCutchen. Actually hitting Manny on the forearm wrist area. This will be a great look here. Manny getting the glove down in time, but how about that? Right straight on the wrist. Would have been out if the ball stays in the glove, but man, he's all hung up on that spike.
And McCutchen, you see him wincing as he grabbed for his ankle. They don't bring the trainer out for McCutchen, and for Manny, a little bit of a scratch on the top of the arm.
Wow.
That'll get Dan's attention in a hurry on a play like that, I'll tell you.
Well, McCutchen's coming in a little high there with his spikes right on Manny's wrist. Looks like he's got a laceration.
Yeah, and then the spike gets stuck in the wristband or some tape that's on Manny's wrist, and that's what causes his ankle to get bent around a little bit.
Got caught on the lacing of the glove, didn't it?
Wow.
Holy moly.
Yeah, both real lucky there.
All right, so they're going to take a look at that. You were talking about, is there a position players that you're looking for? I mean, pitchers, I guess, forever, but
well, we're always looking for shortstops, right? That's where the good athletes are. Center fielders, you know, the general manager's dream is the shortstop that can hit and hit with power. But there's not that many of them. But as I was saying, we draft 21, then we draft number 60, then we have a bonus pick, number 74, and then we draft 98. So we've got 4 of the first 100. We could trade pick 74 up until the draft, but it's doubtful that we're going to do that. We've explored that with a number of teams, but it looks like we're going to hold on to that pick and see if we can add to the depth of our system. You know, a lot of these players in the big leagues come up through the draft. Chris Davis was a 6th round pick. Hardy was a 2nd pick. Manny was a premium draft in the top 5. You got Adam Jones was a top pick. Miley was a 1st round pick at the end of the 1st round. Caleb Joseph, 7th round pick. So you see a lot of these players on the field today came up through the draft. Seth Smith was a 2nd round pick. So they come from all different parts of the draft. Trey Mancini was an 8th round pick, and he got to the big leagues, and he's doing a good job.
Whoa, almost picked off McCutchen, who does push-ups after he goes down to the dirt on a line drive that went right by him.
My goodness, almost broke his ankle, and here almost takes one off the forehead. Bullet.
That's a rough trip around the base.
Yeah,
McCutchen, huh?
He's hurt his ankle. He's become almost a Marine. Mama. 2nd and 3rd here, only 1 away. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Max Moroff at the plate. Moroff will foul that one back. How do you view high school players as opposed to older players, college or otherwise?
Well, the really good high school players are signing with Major League Baseball clubs. They're investing a significant amount of money in the talented player when they come out of college, and then the ones that aren't as talented, if you will, or haven't shown their talent or developed, they're going on to college. But Major League Baseball is doing an excellent job.
That one down the line is going to fall in for a base hit. It'll get one in. It'll get two in. McCutchen scores. Diaz scores. And into second base. The number 9 hitter, Moroff, who did not play last night, put in the lineup as a switch hitter, gets 2 RBIs.
Yeah, Moroff, some pretty good power numbers in the minor leagues. He's recently recalled. Had some playing time at second base. Good speed. Had some good power numbers, actually, in the minor leagues as well. And he just reaches out and hooks this. Looked like a changeup from Wade Miley down that left field line and kind of nestles in on that left field foul line. A double steal. Allows the Buccos to plate 2 here in the second.
So a double, 2 RBIs, and a 2-0 lead, and the top of the order. Here is Mercer up.
But the high school players are signing. I think the real premium high school players should go into pro ball. The ones not so great ought to go to college and see if they develop. And I think there's a real argument to be made that a lot of the high school pitchers should definitely go to college and continue to pitch and develop their skills. So we're really focused on the pitching, and we'll be looking for some college pitching. We could use some infielders to add to our depth, our infield depth throughout the organization. We've been capably picking up some good outfielders. Last year we picked up Austin Hayes, who's having a terrific year in the Carolina League. He's hitting over 300. I think he's hitting 329. The year before, we picked up the third baseman we have in Lynchburg. That's a shortstop. That's a power hitter. Mountcastle. Yeah, he's having a terrific year. So those guys are doing good. They're young, and they're coming along.
Play at the plate. They hold him up. Throw comes into the cutoff man. So Miley getting touched up. Jordy Mercer gets the base hit over to third base. Moroff, and the Pirates have runners on at first and third with only 1 away.
Yeah, and Wade Miley started to get hit a little bit, and that pitch count starting to get jacked up. But the Buccos are swinging it. Of course, that has been really a problem for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's just about driving the runs in. Runners in scoring position.
Yeah, they've getting that done here today, and Roger McDowell will make his way out for a look-see.
Hey, Dan, is there a more intriguing group of rounds other than maybe the first, second, third round where maybe the top athletes are? Does it get more interesting for you maybe the 5th through 10th or 10th through 15th?
Well, I think the top 10 are always very interesting, you know, and you can find out and get some players from that A draft if you have some good scouts and they know what they're looking for. And I always like to hear how passionate the scout is about wanting to get the player into the organization, because if they have some passion and they know what they're looking for, you got a good chance to get a player that can help you down the line. So to me, it's about being very thorough, doing a good job throughout the whole year, seeing the summer leagues. Like in New England, you can't scout in the springtime. You got to go out and see them in the summertime. A lot of these college players, it's hard to get around to see them in their regular season, so you got to go see them in the summertime, see Team USA. And our guys do a good job. Gary Rasich, Danny and Matt Haas, they crisscross the country, and they've done a pretty solid job over the years for the Orioles. And hopefully we'll have another decent draft this year and give ourselves a good foundation where we can get some more players coming up to the big leagues. If you want to see the players from the Orioles minor league system, a lot of times they're playing right here every night at Camden Yards.
Yeah, that's exactly right. How about the numbers? I mean, in this day of the stats and all the new figures, the WAR numbers and all of those we use, what part do they play for you in the draft?
Well, you'd like to be able to project a player to be an everyday major league player. At these showcases, there's a lot of the technology used to measure the tools. There's TrackMan, there's launch angle at the showcases. You get a better idea of the player's speed, you know, through the technology, the velocity of their throwing, for example. So there's a little bit more precise process that Major League Baseball is going through, or the teams go through, to scout the players. It's not as advanced, if you will, in some areas like the NFL, because a lot of times they're going right from the college football team to the NFL. But we're making good progress in terms of sharing medical information and being more precise in our measurements of players before we draft them and get them into the system.
Yep. a lot more to consider, yes, than what it used to be.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more tools, if you will, and you know the entertainment business is pretty interesting. You know, there's a lot at stake here, so
yeah.
you want to make a good selection and get the right player for your organization and pay them well and get them playing and get them to the big leagues. I mean, that's what we're in the business for, right? We want to see these guys come and play good ball night in and night out here in Baltimore. That's what the fans want.
Yep, that's the whole idea. Big strikeout taken right there on Harrison. That is number 3 for Wade Miley. First and third now with 2 down. Polanco up. He flied out first time up. He's in an 0 for 11 right now as he stands in. So the weekend before the draft, are you just, I mean, is it done, or are you going to be weighted heavily this weekend with more work?
No, these scouts are working every night. I think they're working there now, and they're going to work right up to the draft. You know, you have to work very hard to figure out who you like and then get them in a position where you can select them. And then between the first and second round, a lot of players are going to come off the draft that you like. You're not going to get very many players that you like after that first pick because you got to wait until 60, right? You got to wait 40 picks. So you got to have an idea of who you like going into the draft, and then when they're there, you got to go for it. I'll tell you what, the left-handed pitchers, if you like them, you better get them up on the board because somebody else is going to take them before you do.
Well, one thing I've noticed with the Orioles is you're getting signable players. It seems like you're signing the bulk of the players that you go after.
Yeah, the new system that MLB has really pre-screens the players. There's a slot value for each of the picks in the first 10 rounds. And the players give you a good idea if they're willing to sign and go out and play for that money. And it's a lot more efficient process now between the player that's coming into Major League Baseball, the agents that are involved in the team. So I like it a lot better. I think Major League Baseball did a great job a couple of years ago restructuring the draft.
That'll be foul back. Well, Dan, we really appreciate it. Good luck on the weekend. I know it's a big time for every ball club, and it is kind of a crapshoot because you don't know. But you got to make those decisions, and they're not easy. Do you have the big round table? You sit down and they all argue with you?
Well, we have the draft room, right? And we have all the players on the board, and we got them lined up. And hopefully we'll get some good ones for the Orioles. We'll get a few gems in the later rounds, too.
You will. All right, Dan Duquette, who's in charge of all of this, the Executive Vice President, Baseball Operations for the Orioles. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a great weekend of it and a great first of next week.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.